Here we are, tattoo interview. This is your name? Please?
Timothy Boor.
Okay, Timothy. Please give us the name of your shop and the city you tattoo out of.
Bohemian Tattoo Club in Kokomo, Indiana.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Timothy, what were your thoughts on tattooing before you got into tattooing, and what was your first tattoo experience?
Before I got into tattooing, a friend of mine, I didn't really know much about it, to be honest. I didn't have tattoos. I didn't have family with tattoos, like any of that. And in my area, there wasn't a lot of it because it was illegal in Indiana for quite some time. It's only been legal now for, it's only been legal in Indiana for what, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, it got legalized in
94.
94?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fresh.
And then a lot of shops started opening up.
So, yes, when I was younger, in high school and all that stuff, I wasn't surrounded by it. I didn't really know much about it at all. A friend of mine decided to open a shop with a guy who approached him about a building he had and wanted me to, was like, hey, I got a guy that says he'll teach you, because we were in bands together and he knew I used to draw and, that I was an artist. And my first idea of it was, he asked me if I wanted to learn, and I was like, no. And he was all shocked. He's like, man, I got this guy that's going to teach you. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, I don't know much about it. I was like, either everybody around here is really horrible at it, or it's really hard to do, and I actually thought that what I had seen was just the limitations of the medium. All the stuff I'd seen around where I was at, it's guys doing stuff, just illegally or small shops, and it wasn't, back then, it wasn't boom like it is now, of all this realism stuff that I like to do, because then I was, always just drawing and painting, and I always liked realism, and I didn't really see you could do that, so I was like, man, if all I can do is these blown out looking stars and tribals, that I see all around the city. I was like, I don't want to do that. And, so anyway, I gave it a try and ended up really liking it. My first tattoo experience, the guy I was apprenticing under made me do the tattoo on myself, and I didn't know that. So one day at the shop, he asked me, he's like, "Oh, do you think you're ready to do a tattoo?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know. I guess I'm doing whatever that person wants." And he's like, "Oh, okay, that person's you." I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I just on the spot had to come up with something. So I picked classic little Japanese kanjis for my daughter's initials at the time, and just did it on my ankle. And that was my first tattoo experience, was tattooing myself.
Cool. So you gave yourself your own experience. Man, that's pretty cool. Okay. He already explained how you got into tattooing. So how long did you say you've been tattooing?
That's an odd one. Actually, probably around 8 years or so, around there. But I technically did my first tattoo probably 14 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. See, the story I was telling you when I tattooed myself, that was only a 2-month apprenticeship thing, and the guy moved away out of nowhere. So then I stopped, and I didn't do it again. So I had a 2-3 month apprenticeship, and then didn't do it again for 4 or 5 years. Then I worked in a factory, and I had another chance to get back into it, so I was doing it part-time for a year, another apprenticeship. It was it was just part-time, a couple days a week, and that became just too hard to deal with, working a job, all that stuff. I had a couple kids, blah blah. So there again, I actually just stopped and didn't do it for another 3 or 4 plus years.
Gotcha.
And so really the first probably 8 years since I'd done my original tattoo, I'd maybe done 6 months of what a person would have done in a real day in, day out apprenticeship. And then 8 years ago, I decided I want to get back into it, decided I really wasn't ever going to be good at it until I dedicated myself to it. And ended up quitting my job and taking the risk and going for it, and
jumped in, huh?
It worked out, so.
Okay, cool. In that time, I remember I had the chance to take a seminar this weekend. In it, you shared that you and Stefano spoke about how you feel that you were able to catch in that final wave of tattoos that pretty much blown. Since then, what are some of the changes you have seen in the industry of tattooing, good and bad? Some of the things you've been able to witness, basically.
Man, the good stuff is that it's just blown up. So huge. I mean, with the TV shows, a lot of people hate it, but it brought a lot of popularity to tattooing. It took it out of the back rooms, and brought it to the forefront of the world as primetime television, right in their living rooms. And that's good for the exposure to get it out there. And then you got some cats that really just pushed that limit and just knocked it over the edge. You got guys like, for me, at least in my memory of the first stuff that just really was like, holy shit, I didn't know you could do that, was like Mike DeVries, Nico. And years later to be friends with the guy and share a booth with him and stuff, it's just like, still blows my mind, But it's just amazing how much it's blown up. So now you got all these kids that are going to art school, graduating, that none of us have a damn thing to teach them because they're amazing artists. And instead of going and working and designing, Magic the Gathering cards or like the next Halo video game, they're like, why do I want to do that when I can have the tattooist I see, I just destroy them in art, so I'm just going to learn how to use that gadget and just kill it.
Right.
You got guys in Europe and stuff that are, you see they post up, oh yeah, I've been tattooing 2 years, and they're unbelievable.
Amazing stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So really, it's a lot of good stuff. Just the art is right. I feel like right now it's just like we talked about in the seminar. It's like a renaissance.
Yeah.
It's just like so much talent everywhere. Every day we find some guy we've never heard of that just makes us want to break our hands and quit.
One thing, like I actually kind of touch base with Nico, but he was in a rush, so we weren't able to get in it. I was able to, interview him, or mention that, and I mentioned that Renaissance we just spoke. And the cool thing about it is, we all know that from the Renaissance it spawned all these other art movements and stuff. But now we look back at those masters in the Renaissance. So imagine, who are the masters of tattoo that we're going to look back upon and think about, like, hey, that guy was, he was the tattoo Leonardo, the tattoo Michelangelo. So knowing that we're part of that age, I think is pretty awesome. Yeah, because there's already like a handful of guys like that. Yeah. Like there's some guys now that really, back in the day, started some big no outline, black and gray realism shit. Like St. Mark from Indiana, who's actually on Ink Master now. And it's crazy that there's so many people now that know who St. Mark is because of Ink Master, where it's like he influenced half the people in this room and they don't know it. Right. You know what I mean? And like there's so many people that have blown up that have just taken it even farther. But yeah, there's guys already that I think kind of started some stuff that people don't know now. The young guys getting into it, they don't know who don't know the history, don't know that foundation where it came from the Brit. Yeah, that's crazy. So, next question, Timothy, is what has tattooing taught you?
Man, it's honestly it's been a gift. I worked 13 years in a factory, just thought that was my life, just miserable, day in and day out, flipping transmissions. I was the guy everybody's saying, why are you working here? You got all these paintings, you do all this stuff, why are you wasting away in some factory? And like, dude, it's taught me so much about just the world. I've gotten to see Europe and South America and all this stuff. I've gotten to experience so much, and it's taught me a lot about art through tattooing. Before I got into tattooing, I always painted and stuff, but I didn't paint or draw like I do now, 8 hours a day, and then go home and research and draw and stuff for the next day. So tattooing has gotten me so much better in every avenue of art, because tattooing is, you're drawing for stuff. You're every day you're technically drawing and painting. On skin. So it just makes you get so much better because you do it for your job now. And it's also the only bad thing. Back to the other question is, it's taught with everybody being in an industry that there's so many good people now. It to me it teaches you to be humble, and it does bum me out the people that aren't. That like, because to me I feel like we kind of talked about it in my seminar a little bit, that I do get bummed at people that get mad saying, oh, this guy bit my style, this guy bit my style, this, that. It's like, but bro, your style's from like Disney was doing cartoon shit before you ever tattooed, like not to say that there aren't people that have invented really neat stuff in tattooing, but in the fine art world there's so much stuff
that has already been covered or done.
It's all been done. And then people get upset that someone took their style, but it's like, but that's the style you took from Picasso, or that you took from this or that, or or God, there's tattooing now that's very pop art looking, that's Warhol, but I just don't. I think sometimes it's getting tattooing. It's blown up so much that it's getting a little bit of a big head, You know, it's like, hey guys, remember at the end of the day, man, we drew cool pictures on somebody. We didn't paint the Sistine Chapel. You know, like settle down. I think there's a problem if you can't find somebody out there that's better than you. Because there's always someone out there that's like pushing it harder. You know, that started earlier, that whatever, is just kicking your
Dude,
ass.
I heard this saying, man. I don't remember. I think it was a Corey Flatmore interview, and he says there's nothing more humbling than seeing a good tattoo. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you see something just holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's like I gotta go back to the drawing board. There's something I ain't getting.
Oh yeah. There's like tattooists that me and some my friends tattooists, we've always shared like the same story about how I don't know, you kind of want to see that guy's stuff in person healed up and hope it looks like shit. That makes you feel better. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, I saw Dimitri Samoan piece and it healed like shit. Fuck him, he ain't that good. You know, but then you see it and it's amazing. And you're like, fuck.
Dude, like, I'll tell you what, I had the chance to see one of his in real life, man. At the first tattoo convention I went to, and I was actually across the room. And I seen this girl's back.
Oh yeah,
and then I go
the famous one with the Indian.
The Indian,
yeah. I've seen that one too.
It, and then I'm getting closer, and I'm just like, what? And as I get closer, it gets more amazing.
Yeah.
And then when I ask her who did it, and then she tells me in this real thick accent, Samopine, and I was like, that's the guy I've been seeing on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's around the time it started blowing up, and it looked just like it did in the pictures, man. It was crazy, man. Like at that point, I guess it was fresh. Maybe it's doled out now. I don't know.
Oh no, I seen when I seen it, it was a couple years old, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was amazing. And
but like with him though, the reason that I don't get like envious of his work is because I've determined that he's an alien, and so it's just not fair. I can't compete with alien intelligence.
He's got high tech.
Yeah, that's how I sleep better at night.
Then you also mentioned 80 Poncho. He's been blowing up in this stuff.
Yeah,
but that's for another.
Just great tattoos, just bold banging.
And of course you already mentioned it, but if you will for the viewers, what kind of, just clear it up, what kind of style tattoo do you prefer to do?
My favorite style is like black and gray surrealism. Okay. I like, I do a lot of color and I enjoy doing it, but like the piece I worked on today, you have a little bit of a base of a reference. It was like a creepy evil Virgin Mary. Mm-hmm. As an example, and I had a reference for the face and the shroud, whatever, but it was mainly just for the features and the lighting and the basic stuff. And then the back of her hood, I freehanded like a profile of Jesus, and I ended up doing like a nail into her esophagus, and that came from actually just wiping it and made a shape. And I was like, fuck, I should put a nail in her throat. That's like a Jesus nail. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. And sitting down, you're like, wow, I don't want to do this big just black hood. It's like, well, fuck, it'll trigger that she's Mary even more if we make it to like a dark Jesus coming out of the back of her head. And I like the spontaneity of that. You get to make it up. Sometimes you just wipe the ink away and it makes this neat shape, and you're like, oh, well, let's do that. And you get to just play and have fun. It's fresh. It's not like so laboring of just this exact stencil to this, or it has to look like that. It's like, no, there was a point that I got a portrait of Bob Ross on me, so that's like happy little accidents,
You know what? Great point. Yeah. So basically, let the tattoo take you. Let it come to its own life.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of
happening.
Yeah, it's fun because it's like I don't know. It's like it's like a collaboration with the skin and the medium. That's kind of happening, that just works in the moment, and sometimes it makes for the coolest shit. I had a tattoo I did not too long ago, and everybody when they see it, like, man, I love that negative thing that's just weirdly sweeps across the face, and that was another one of those. I'm rubbing some ointment and something, and I went, I should do that,
Yeah. So you like to keep an open mind to make edits, for lack of better term. Make edits on it. And that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's like creative.
Yeah, a lot of us tend to just stick to it's like, oh, we got to get it tit for tat. And
right.
Stay according to the sense. So that's cool. Now, here's a question I want to ask you, because I would love to get into color. I had mentioned in the seminar and stuff, but honestly, my heart is also with black and gray and black and gray realism. Let me ask you, can you elaborate as to why you like black and gray over color, or would prefer it?
It's relaxing.
Is it?
Just to be honest, like black and gray, it heals easier. It's less trauma to the skin, so you're not worried about just flat out. You're not worried about that. Like, did I pack it too much? Is it going to heal like shit? They don't have to. Someone can almost not take care of a black and gray tattoo as good as you would like them to, and it still turn out well. Because with color portraits, you can do a perfect color portrait, that you did not oversaturate, you didn't work their skin. But if the person doesn't baby the shit out of it and take care of it right, it can feel like crap. But, and black and gray, there's so many less decisions to be made. With black and gray, it's all value, shape, form. You're not like color matching, all this little stuff, and as much as it's enjoyable, it's just as far as like when I wake up in the morning and I have this big color realism piece, it's just like, you got a day, you got a day coming. When it's black and gray and it's like a little surrealism piece, it's like, oh man, today I just get to kind of relax and just do it's like the difference between just kind of having fun sketching with a pencil and then having to like do an oil painting. Like sometimes you go back to that pencil and it's like, oh, this is kind of fun. It's just chill,
Yeah, definitely. One of the reasons, can I share why I like black? Yeah. One of the reasons I personally like black and gray is because you can capture warmth, you can capture light, all that with color by just the color choice. You know what I'm saying? With black and gray, it's almost like you got to manipulate the mind, and the cat takes a little certain, I don't know, to try to capture the feeling or the emotion of it, whatever. Yeah. And I fail every time, but the fact is I'm trying. And dude, it's just being able to do it with just one value, almost kind of like those skulls right there. That feeling they give. It's not just a skull. There's a certain atmospheric feel to it, and I like that challenge.
I do too. And also, I think with black and gray, there's a very classy look to it.
There is.
Like when it's a really good black and gray sleeve, it's like looking at, it's the difference between a Michelangelo painting, which is phenomenal, and then the statue of David. Right. It's just, there's some. Yeah, there you go. It's just, there's a classy look to it. I think it looks good on everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next question. This one's been giving everybody trouble. See what it does to you. Artists not this one. This is artists who inspires you, tattooers and non-tattooers.
All right. Oh, wow.
And just vital. Yeah. The next question is the one I got a mistake, but.
Yeah, like outside of tattooing, I'm actually covered in portraits of artists. Salvador Dali is my hands down all-time favorite painter. Okay. I love his skill is amazing, but his mind is awesome. I have my own little theory of art versus painters. I think you can be a great painter and be not a very good artist, because you can do I think you can do an amazing painting, but you didn't really say much. You didn't create a lot. You emulated life well, and you did a nice portrait, or you did a nice still life, and I'm not shitting on that. I think that's phenomenal. And I also think there's guys that have amazing ideas and have a lot of things to say, and they have really cool, creative thoughts, but aren't very good painters. And it's more abstract or this and that. And my personal, not that I think it's the end-all be-all or for everyone, but my personal favorite artists are the ones that are both. Where you have that really cool creative mind, but you also have committed the time to be a great artist. I think Picasso is very revered because his style was a choice. It wasn't a limitation. He could paint you down to the eyelash if he wanted to. I mean, Max is a huge fan of the guy. He showed me books that I didn't realize.
When he was a kid.
Yeah, when he was a kid, he was doing shit that is unbelievable. So I think, it's a choice, not a weakness. And people that followed him, I think they thought, oh, I could do that and do shapes. But he chose to. He went through the process of becoming a great artist and learning the rules before he broke them. Right. So artists like Dali, to me, he's just a phenomenal painter, and his mind is unbelievable. I mean, half the shit that surrealist artists and all this do in tattooing, he did it before any of us. Yeah. Other than him, like Caravaggio, I love that guy. Da Vinci. I like a lot of realism artists. I'm a big fan of Mishkinsky. To name a few. And tattooing. Adi Poncho is a new one that I think is really neat. I love Dimitri Samoin's work for realism. Probably my hands down favorite color realism tattooist, I would have to say right now, is Paul Acker. Nico is phenomenal. Paul, his work just glows. Like, he emulates things, but his colors are just, even when it's dull, it's vibrant. I don't know. It's just
something he's doing, huh?
Dude, I love that dude's work. And Robert Hernandez is one of my favorites also, because anybody will tell you he's pretty much like the reincarnation of the dark version of the tattooing Salvador Dali. I think.
Yeah.
And and all these guys I mentioned too. A lot of them I've had a chance to meet. And they're all such amazing, humble guys. I mean, I could probably name another like 100 artists. I'm one of the tattooists on Instagram that if you see my page, I follow like 1,200 people, and they're all great tattooists. You look through them, they're not just like buddies of mine. It's all tattooists, And so there's so many great ones. Even just like guys like, I think Timmy B has reinvented what is just a good traditional tattoo of the modern day. It's almost like if traditional techniques of tattooing evolved and didn't just stay in that same form of, you know what I mean? Like, because there's like a formula to traditional tattooing.
Some of the fundamentals and expanded on them.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, and like Timmy's amazing, and like the Tanae Whitfields and Franklin Natra. That dude, you look at his tattoos, it's like, man, you could have illustrated like children's books and done cartoons for Disney or something. There's just so many, man.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next question. This is it. Well, I don't know if it'll be hard for you because you already got. Question is, if you can get tattooed by another tattooer, who would it be? But you already collected from some well-known tattooers. So
right now,
who's someone you would like to get tattooed?
Someone I would like to get tattooed by. All those guys I mentioned. I don't have anything from Paul yet, or Dimitri Samoin. I want to get a Hernandez piece. I want to get a lot of Hernandez work, actually. I was talking to Nico about starting a possible back piece. Yeah. Actually, I want to get a tattoo eventually from Paul Booth. I worked for the guy forever and never got a piece from him. I gotta have one of those. Yeah, there's really a lot of guys. And another guy a lot of people don't know that I just love his work is a guy from he's Europe somewhere. He goes under Tofi Tattoos.
Oh, he does all that digital painting first,
yeah.
And then I
actually was following that guy since MySpace.
Really?
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I'd love to get a piece by him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, was it Polish or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is, do you do any artwork outside of tattooing?
Oil painting. And
how's that? How's that for frustrating?
I love it.
There you go. Oh shit, that is amazing.
That's what I've been oil painting technically since I was around like 11 years old, 10 or 11. I was born with like my feet on backwards pretty much, so my childhood I wasn't really playing sports, running, jumping, and climbing trees, so my grandma would watch me during the day, and my senior year of high school was the first year I walked through the whole school year without having to stop at some point, be in a wheelchair or crutches or something. So I would just hang out with her, watch like Bob Ross and everything. So I was an oil painter and all that before I ever got into tattooing. So a lot of tattooists become tattooists and then get into painting. I was a painter that then got into tattooing.
So you had somewhat of a foundation before you got into tattooing. Well, you had mentioned you did, because you drew a lot of stuff.
And I like a lot of pencil drawing, and I do a lot of digital art as well.
Okay. Before we go into this next string of questions, man, I answered it, and just from talking to you and then being able to take your seminar, you really do have a unique standpoint on tattooing. And one thing I would like to touch base is, I haven't felt comfortable asking other artists, but between the whole coil rotary thing, and I understand, like, we got to know where it came from. We got to know.
Yeah.
And there's people say, you got to be able to use a coil and stuff. And I think one of the things we said is, if you want to use a coil, then get a coil. You want the coil effect, use a coil. Yeah, that's one thing on a product.
Right.
Now, I don't mean no disrespect, but I honestly, if it's obsolete, it's obsolete. What are your thoughts on it?
Right. My thoughts really are, I use both.
Right.
Honestly, I have a signature series of machines through FK Irons, and they're coils.
Yeah.
I love them. Actually, I gotta say, with the thing that I think, the reason people want a rotary to feel like a coil when everybody's like, just get a coil, is because of the weight. Everybody likes the way coils run, but their complaints are, it hurts my hand because it's heavy as shit, and you get tired of having to tune it. With the rotary, you pick the damn thing up, and it's just always going to be the same. And then it's also taken over because of the cartridge needles. Makes it so easy. You just need one machine when you travel. Like when I go to conventions, I'll hardly ever bring coils. I'll bring my one machine and maybe a backup in case something goes wrong on it.
Traveling though, it seems just to be more efficient.
But like honestly with coils, it's a different vibe to me, but I like it. There's like I can almost tell certain things because of the sound.
Right.
Like I thought that was something that was interesting. Getting used to rotaries in the first place was with a coil. You have that sound that your machine runs, and you can dip it in pure black and just, you know, and you can
dip again.
Yeah, and you can when you know how it gets quiets down, that it's saturating more and getting deeper, and there's a vibe to it that I love.
They have a characteristic.
Yeah, they do. But like, I don't think it's necessary technically to have an apprenticeship I think you can start someone out on a rotary just because you can't say rotaries don't do good tattoos. That's why this convention's so quiet. You know, tattoo conventions are very quiet now because there's not all these machines running.
Right.
But
and that's kind of what I want to touch base. The fact is that tattooing is evolving, and so are the tools. Like we got digital stuff. And one of the things we'll get back on this. We actually touched on.
No one teaches their apprentice how to make needles anymore.
No, exactly.
Because you don't need to. Why fuck with it?
Yeah, exactly. And in all respect to like this industry was built by great men, greater men than myself and stuff. And it is because of their hard work and sacrifice that I'm able to do it now. I absolutely keep that with me every day, and I'm sure you do too.
Right.
But one of the things is the fact is like even in writing, you don't see typewriters anymore. And you don't see nothing. Like there's this park, I don't know what city it is, they got the old typewriter erasers as a sculpture. And the fact is it's archaic to these kids nowadays because they'll never know what that is. It's like this strange monolith in the middle of a park and they won't know. So basically some things just get outdated. Everything's now digital, and some things in tattooing might.
You can become a great writer with never having used a typewriter.
Exactly, and you might be a great tattooer, and no disrespect to anybody.
But I'm that way with all the whole apprenticeship thing. I'm not the guy I have an apprentice right now, and I'm not the, I think it's all about the art and everything. Whereas a lot of the old school was kind of like wash my car, and paint my house, and I get why they did it, and I've grown to understand it more as I've gotten in tattooing longer. It's more just to show you like there's work to this job.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to take it on the chin here and there. You gotta know that it's not just fun and games. You gotta be able to work, and it's about respect.
It is.
And I get that.
Okay, cool. Anyway, thank you. Another thing too. I'll get back when I remember. But anyway, tattooers. A lot of tattooers that have been in the industry have had fruitful, or even those just anybody who's been in the industry for a amount of time likes to say, mention that they would like to give back to tattooing. What does that mean to you? And how do you feel that you give back to tattooing, whether present or in the future? How would you like to give back to tattooing?
Really, that's one of the reasons why when I was asked to do a seminar that I kind of wanted to do it, because when I got into tattooing, the thing that I thought was so awesome was in my local town, all the other tattooers and all the other shops at the time, it was very like McDonald's versus Burger King, like this a hardcore thing, and everybody talked shit, and everybody was cocky assholes and all this stuff. And then I go to a convention and I meet like Nico. I get tattooed by Mike DeVries. That same day I met Bob Tyrell and he bought me a beer. And they're all answering any question I had about tattooing. Mike, while he was tattooing, was just like, yeah, dude, I'll tell you how I do the whole thing as we go. And you go ask somebody, oh, what colors you use, this and that, and they were all so cool. And everybody helped me out without question. There was nobody like, no, you ain't my apprentice, or just that old school attitude of like everybody kept their little shit secret. And so to me, it's like part of giving back is just sharing my knowledge and helping anybody else that wants to learn and to just uphold the integrity of tattooing in general. The only thing I don't like about the competition shows is how much it makes tattooing look like we're all not a cool community. That we're all like pitted against each other, and it's not like the way it is here. Like we all compete here for tattoo of the day, but we're all like, oh fuck, you kicked my ass, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're not like upset about it. Like everybody that had their shit in tattoo a day are gathering around the one who beat them and checking it out and giving them props. You're like, fuck. No one's like, that's bullshit, mine was better, And at least not it's people I know and hang out with.
And there's always something you might take home with you from that tattoo.
Yeah, definitely,
man. That's a great point, man. Thank you for pointing that out. What's something you would personally like to see in tattooing in the near future, as far as the industry as a whole?
Just more of where I feel like it's going, more of a understanding of the clients of the media. I've actually gotten well with enlightening people to a few things by trying to come up with some good analogies so they understand it. People sometimes come into the shop and they think that a certain artist is a cocky asshole because he denies maybe their lettering, or he denies this, he doesn't do portraits, or he doesn't do new school, and they're just like, oh, you're too good to do my tattoo. They think, you're art slave, do what I do, and they think it's you having an attitude. But what I try to explain to them is Olive Garden could make you a burrito, but why do you want them to? You don't go into a Chinese restaurant and demand lasagna. You go and you look at the menu of what they have to offer, and you either eat that food or you don't. So when, the knowledge of people is getting better, and I would like for the tattoo shows to address that a little more, which they've gotten better at, because I think when the shows first came out, they thought, oh shit, you get a back piece in a half hour, or people don't realize that amazing piece that you're bringing in that you want me to do something like, I know the guy who did it. That's 120 hours, and then you want me to knock it out in like 2 8-hour sessions, and just that kind of knowledge, that helps just help people understand that tattooing is like anything else. There's guys that serve this product, and there are guys that have this on their menu, and go to the one who's going to enjoy doing it, because it's going to be better. The more the artist enjoys what they're doing, the better the tattoos are. Most of the people that see tattoos that blow their mind, that's probably someone that went up to Carlos Rojas and was like, hey man, I don't know, I want like a dark rider on a horse as a back piece. Do it. And then he's like, rad. And so he gets to just come up with his thing, and he's excited about it, instead of just sitting there like, all right, I have to do something I'm not that into. And you're always going to see the passion in someone's work, even no matter how good they knock out the one they didn't like. You can always tell the one that they were really into. So that kind of just understanding, I think, would be a good thing. And it's getting better.
Yeah. What is tattooing to you?
It's definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. Definitely. I mean, I never would have thought that anyone in Europe, by the time I died, would ever know who I was. I would never would have thought there'd be like a magazine that would put me on the cover. I never would have dreamed that I would have like what happened to me. I feel very fortunate. I feel very lucky. It's an amazing life, man. I get to be creative. I get to do something I love. I get to, kind of set my own schedule. I get to travel the world. It's everything.
So fair to say tattooing has changed your life?
Very much. Very much.
What is the ideal tattoo client to you?
Kind of what I was just saying a little bit, like someone that comes in and gives you like a good, an idea of what you want, of what they want. I like to have a little direction,
right?
And then is open to let you kind of do your thing with it. Someone that's not, oh, you're putting that color there, you know what I mean? It's just like, wait till it's done, Or I've had people be like, why is there pink? And it's like, your tattoo's not going to be pink, but I'm going to mix that with brown to, you know what I mean? Or like,
right.
It's just nice when people give you some freedom to make it cooler. Because to be honest, like, it's not a cocky thing, but it's like, this is what we do for a living. We're going to make it cooler than you envision it, because you're not an artist. We are. We know what looks good on skin. We know we're doing you a favor when we tell you don't put your kid's portrait on your elbow.
Right.
It's going to look dumb.
And possibly because they can't visualize it, and they don't have that skill of visualization. We've worked and stuff. I hate saying we because I'm new to the industry and I don't want to put myself in the same. I know I got a long way, so excuse me when I say that.
Oh no, dude, we're all the same.
So, is there a favorite tattoo you have that you've done? Do you have one that sticks out a lot, whether the experience, not necessarily the tattoo or the tattoo itself?
Yeah, like one that my favorites right now is on my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing my sleeve on my wife, and of course she's giving me a free rein. She just told me she wanted her sleeve to be love. So I love things actually that have meaning. I like researching different ways to portray something. And that's when people ask me when they come in, they say, "Oh, I want a verse of this poem or my favorite song." It's like, well, what do you think about me maybe trying to make that into a cool picture that means that?
Right.
And that's how her sleeve is.
So
I really
strong symbolism.
Yeah, you get to look up stuff, and so she has the face that is. I looked up goddesses and goddesses of love and all this, and they were born of the Venus, born of the sea foam in the ocean, and all this different stuff. So I have a lot of cool symbolism in there that when people look at it, they probably wouldn't catch until I point it out. And that's kind of my favorite shit, so I'm really enjoying doing that one. But I pick it apart all the time because it's my wife, and I end up talking to her arm all the time, yeah. It's like, no, I don't talk to her anymore, I talk to her arm, just staring at it, yeah.
That's crazy.
So I love it and hate it.
So is there one that has proved to be more challenging than when you initially went into? Like, is there a tattoo that you remember you figured, not necessarily thought, oh, I'm going to but it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, then like, whoa, I'm going to have to rethink this situation.
Oh, yeah. I did one of the first tattoos that got me a lot of attention was I did the MC Escher famous hand with the globe.
Yeah.
And so I got hit up to do a few MC Escher pieces, and this one guy wanted me to do a few. So a girl was like, oh, I want you to do a piece of his. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. I did the tattoo. I got it done. I was happy with it. Didn't ever post it because I never ever wanted to do one of those damn things again. Because there's fun challenging and then there's just like mind direct challenging. And I have a problem with when I emulate another artist's work, like a painter, like a MC Escher artist. I want to try to keep it as true to what they did. And MC Escher, the piece she wanted me to do was all exact, like single needle 3-liner, perfect lines that, cross-hatch, and it's not even like loose cross-hatching, like Da Vinci and shit, like Michelangelo drawings. It's like, so I did this whole tattoo, just all perfect lines, and I was just like, that won't be too bad, it's just all lines. And then I sat down and started doing it, and I was just like, why the fuck did I say I would do this? And I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be horrible.
And one final question is, if you have any advice for the general public as to how to shop for the right tattoo or the right shop, what would you like to tell them to help raise their awareness?
Find the guy who does the work that's closest to what you want done. If you want a portrait, go to a guy whose portfolio is a lot of portraits and a lot of realism. Travel if you have to. Kind of don't make somebody, it's just going to work out better if you go to someone who does what you want to have done. And as far as like flat out, as far as the money and all that, I know tattoos are expensive. They are. I've paid money for my own. But the way I always say it to people is if you knew you could only drive one car for the rest of your life, no matter what lottery you won, what job you got later, no matter how many millions you ended up with, you still had to drive that one car forever. Would you hold up and save up and buy a nice car to drive for the rest of your life? Or would you be like, shit, I won the lottery, I'm worth $20 million and I'm still in a Chevette?
Damn, yeah, that's a great...
or if you had to wear one shirt forever, would you save up and rock the fucking Versace for the rest of your life? Or would you be like, man, I'm stuck in this wife beater at dinner in a fancy restaurant for the rest of my life? The only thing, I tell this people all the time, the only thing that will be in your casket when you die that you chose to be in that box with you will be your tattoos. You'll be in a suit you never picked out, a suit you may have never worn. You're going to be surrounded by people, maybe even crying, you didn't even know that well, in a fucking room you don't know about. But the tattoo that you pick on you will be there when you die, and you chose that shit. You don't take any of this other shit with you. You'll buy $10,000, $20,000 cars maybe by the time you die, and lease them and pay money a month, and that thing dies and goes away and wrecks, and you just buy another one. But this thing that you have to stare at on your fucking arm every day is the one thing you're going to bargain hunt for and think that it's too expensive. It's just like, that's ridiculous to me. I don't understand the mindset that's like, oh yeah, it looks like shit, but it's $50, and I have a tattoo. Yeah. I don't understand that, and that's the difference between the tattoos you see. It's like, oh cool, you have tattoos, and holy shit, look at that. You know what I mean? And that's what I just don't, realize what you're doing to yourself. It's your skin. Right. Pay for it. Do it, or don't get it. Or don't get it. Just don't cover yourself in bullshit.
That's some great advice, man. Like honestly, you saw my face. I was like, holy shit, you put it well, nicely said, man. I know you're a busy guy. You said you come hunt me so we could do this, and I appreciate you kept your word, man. That was fucking awesome. I had the opportunity to take your seminar this weekend once again. That was the first one, and it was good. It was amazing. I should say. I learned a lot, not aside from technically the whole design process. It helped clarify things for me. But I think for myself, especially as a new artist in the industry, you know, fresh into it, one of the biggest things I struggled with is somewhat validity and trying to gain like. I don't know, not so much acceptance, but is this for me or am I doing it right?
Right.
And I think there's a big argument between the dudes that draw and the realists.
Right.
And in my heart, I do feel like I'm more gravitated toward realism and stuff. And the fact that we do reference drawings from life and stuff. We're not stuff, you know. And I think the fact that you said, hey, it's okay. This is how this works. This style of work works like this. Those guys, there's nothing wrong with those two guys are saying, but that's for their style of work. And that helped me understand and find a certain peace within myself, man.
Yes.
And for that, I just want to thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much, man.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's one of the things that I was even telling my wife. I was like, one of the things I want to tell these guys in the seminar is stop feeling bad if you use a fucking computer to come up with a reference, man. It's what we have to do is very demanding. We don't have a room full of models just waiting on us to do all that. I don't have sea turtles in my backyard to take my own photos of. You know, I mean, and what's the why technically? Why do I need to waste the time to sit there and draw it off the screen? When I'm just copying it. You know, it is what it is. And so like, and the thing is we can draw. Like when I paint and stuff, I'm not stenciling paintings. That's the time on my own. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect on someone's arm forever, and that's why that medium is loose and it helps you practice. You know, when I'm outside of tattooing, you know, I try to do portraits from life because it's going, you know, drawing and everything, because it's going to make me a better portrait tattooer. You know, so I do think there's like this realist guilt that they put on us, but like, you're going to tell me Nico can't draw? Have you seen his fucking paintings? You can draw. Like Dmitry Samoin, you can draw. You know, like just look at all these guys' paintings and look at their artwork outside of their tattoos. I would just love to smash that stereotype, because if very few guys are amazing realism tattooists and can't draw for shit. Most of them can.
I mean, you do take something out of realism, whether you know it or not.